This is the 19th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, X-Zone Lures, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, Spro, Gamakatsu, Big Bite Baits, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing and anything else we want to talk about, because our guest today is none other than the one and only founder of BTL Bass Zone and all things, Mark Jeffries, from his new studio at Southern Nazarene University. What's going on, Mark?
I got stacks of paper right here.
Really?
Yeah.
What's on the stacks of paper?
Tournament entries, compliance.
Like NCAA compliance stuff?
No, USBC compliance. Lane patterns.
What's a lane pattern?
So what different pattern they put the oil.
What do you mean? So this is for like your college. Okay, just put the papers down right now. We'll get to the lane patterns later. Okay, we've mentioned it. We've talked about it before, but explain to everybody what your job is now, your full-time job.
Full-time gig is men's and women's head bowling coach at Southern Nazarene University, which is an NCAA Division II school just outside Oklahoma City. But even though at some universities bowling is an NCAA sport for the women, we are not a NCAA women's sport here. We are governed, both the men's and women's teams, by the United States Bowling Congress. So we can build this program if we want to and take it to the NCAA level. But at this time, we're pretty satisfied just to stay a USBC schedule. The compliance in the NCAA is ridiculous, Matt.
I thought it was a free for all now.
Oh, it is in the USBC. It's the Wild West.
No, I thought it was with the NCAA with the
heavens no.
With the name, image, and the NIL deals. I thought it was just flowing.
No. So it could be a couple.
But yours is like you could lure bowlers in with like free Whataburger. You have no compliance issues, huh?
No.
Or very few.
No, we just downstairs from my office, we just built a Chick-fil-A on campus.
Really?
Yeah. So
some of your stuff in the background looks very familiar to the studio, just like some of my stuff looks familiar to the old studio.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can see it. The hat.
Wait a second.
Oh yeah.
We have the same fern. Look at the fern behind your shoulder.
Yeah.
Look at that fern, and then look at my fern. Here, hold on.
Yeah, but that came from the original studio, dude. Yeah.
We got the same fern. That was a total. I did not know that was in the original. No, I did not copy you.
That was in the original, man.
This is a Hobby Lobby find.
It was from Hobby Lobby.
Did you know?
I want to show you. Look at this. This might be the
Shaw Grigsby, Gerald Swindle, and Dean Rojas autographed Quantum hats.
KVD.
You can't see that. That's too.
Oh, you can't see the KVD. KVD.
No. Okay.
KVD.
Oh, you put all the Quantum hats there.
There's 6 of them. And that might be.
The other 2 are Terry Scroggins and Gary Klein, right?
Klein is one of them. It's Klein, Gerald, Rojas, KVD, Tommy Biffle.
Oh, that's right.
Tommy Biffle and Shaw Grigsby.
Boy, I'd be interested to see when the BPT roster comes out. I think there might be a couple changes. Boy, Wait a second. Go back to those hats.
Yeah.
KVD retired.
Yeah.
Shaw Grigsby. Is he retired? We'll call him semi-retired.
sorta, I guess.
Who else?
Swindle.
Okay. There's two of those guys are retired.
Rojas, and Tommy Biffle.
Okay. And then you got some bowling stuff up there as well.
Gary Klein. Yeah. Yeah, that is a bowling ball that I shot 300 with, but it is completely cracked out. It is a mess.
Some would say I'm completely cracked out.
Yeah. And then I've got the Curtis Joseph goalie stick.
Cujo.
Yeah. And then you saw those. The Sugar Ray Leonard boxing gloves. You remember those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all stuff that's been in the studio before. So full-time bowling coach at SNU.
Yes.
And I think it would be only right, just in case the point hasn't been hammered home enough, to watch the latest and greatest Mark Jeffries promo video that is coming out of the SNU PR department. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's not coming out from the PR department. I think I'm the only coach on campus that puts together videos.
There might be a reason why, Mark.
Yeah.
All right, here it is. This is the latest. If this doesn't get you fired up to drive to what is it? North Oaks, KC, or where's it considered? Bethany, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
For a home match.
Yeah.
Do you have home matches?
No, they're all road games.
But like, should a group of BTL wanna blitz the place with signs?
That would be kind of cool. These events are kind of crazy anyway.
Okay. We are going to talk a lot of fishing.
The schedule later.
Okay. We are going to talk a lot of fishing. There is a bunch of stuff I want to get into. You know what? When the Alabama rig came out, we beat that horse till it was so dead that you refused to even say the word Alabama rig. Remember, it was called like the rig that shall not be named. That it was a rigatoni and all that. We're in a era right now of talking about things that it just won't go away, and it's forward-facing sonar and its application in I mean, like I go into some interviews, and I know you probably don't watch the show much anymore with your full-time coaching gig going on. But you know, I did a whole deal with Zaldane on it, and then Gerald Swindle just came out with something on social media. I actually have talked to people from both organizations behind the scenes, nothing formal, just saying, oh, what do you think about, and what about this, and what about, and I'd like to get your take on that. And then also, I mean, even when you retired just 2 years ago, there was a lot of weight and experience. Experience played a big role in success. And since about 2020, I don't know if we can say that. So we'll get into that. But first, the SNU, is there anything you want to set up on this promo? This is the latest and greatest on the SNU bowling.
This is the video that I use when I go to showcase events and play on my computer screen. Nobody else has one. Imagine that. But
all right, here we go.
All right.
Without further ado, the BTL world premiere of 2023 SNU bowling. The Crimson Storm is building. Here we go.
Generation out for reputation, you're more than that's the cooling scene.
Miko Koskinen chipped up the middle of McDavid flying.
So is that typical Jeffries?
That can't get any more, Jeffrey. Sorry if that was a little loud for people. If you're watching it on YouTube, yeah, I can't adjust that volume on iTunes. It'll be a seamless volume transition, but
Okay.
apparently we lost one of Mark's eardrums. Okay, so what is this deal then?
The hockey pucks have become very, very popular.
I don't understand that.
So when you go to these events, everybody has the same stuff. Okay, they all have the pins and the bowling balls with the logo on there, and they hand out stickers and lifesavers or whatever. So I was like, man, I'm not doing that. So I put the hockey puck. I put Connor McDavid in there. He scores a goal. And I have typically about 20, 25 hockey pucks when I go to these places. I also have about $400,000 in movie prop money.
That's fake money.
It's fake money, but it looks real. Okay. So I stack up the money and then I put the hockey pucks right by there, and everybody, their attention gets captured with the money. Then they ask about the hockey pucks and they watch the video. And then what I do is I take a gold Sharpie and I write on the hockey puck, goals are achieved at SNU.
Is this something like a Bobby Knight deal from a book or something?
No, I came up with this on my own. So the last event that I was at was this past weekend, and I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and I didn't have a single hockey puck left. The word got out, and it was probably my best recruiting showcase event that I've had for the 4 that I've been to so far. But yeah, all the other coaches kind of walk by my area and they just kind of look at me and shake.
Are you the Deion Sanders of college bowling coaches? Be honest.
No, I'm not flashy.
You've got hockey pucks and stacks of cash and a promo video. You're the Coach Prime of the bowling world.
Let's just say I don't have too many friends right now, Matt.
Oh, really? You're ruffling some feathers in the world.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you had a tendency to do that in the bass fishing world.
I did.
It's amazing now. I mean, I like to think I get along with everybody except one guy. Not a big fan of one guy, but that's a big deal. Yeah. But I get along with everybody. Right?
Yeah. Oh, I get along with everybody that I come in contact with. It's just.
But you're ruffling some feathers as to how things are done. Is it because you have a larger recruiting budget? Because you're taking players that other schools want? Is it because you have stacks of fake money at your?
Yeah, I'm just doing stuff very unique. In fact, we've kind of coined this. The players came up with SN Unique.
Oh, that rolls off the tongue.
SN Unique. So I just think some of the coaches, everybody does it the same. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden you got this big 6'4" dude that comes rolling in with fake money and hockey pucks. What the heck is he doing? Well, if you look at my recruit board compared to their recruit board, I think mine might be a little longer as far as list. So we'll see. It's a totally different game. They want to see, show me the fake money. There it is. Kind of looks. Anyway. So it was good. Nashville was really, really good. Dude, and I saw something that I've never seen before. I saw a mom walk down into the bowling area and actually get into a confrontation with her son.
Over how poorly
during
he was
a match.
bowling?
I don't know what was going on.
Was he yelling at her or what was up? That'd be like a mom going down to the dock and jumping on the boat right before takeoff at a college event, right?
It was crazy.
On your team or another team?
No. These are all high school kids, man.
Oh, recruiting trip.
Yeah.
You were in Pro Shop Operator magazine?
Yeah, they did an interview
last year.
With me. Yeah. And then I was on the Storm Collegiate podcast because normally this doesn't happen, Matt. We talked about that. Normally, to become a college coach, you either have to be a high school coach or really be entrenched in the bowling coaching world. And I tell people all the time when I recruit that, hey, look, if you're looking for a bowling coach, go somewhere else. All right. But if you're looking for a coach that knows a lot about bowling, then this is the place for you. What are you
This
doing?
represents Jeffrey's second or third career, depending on where you rank, a rather notable side gig that was a media startup named Z3 that was the first to live stream professional fishing, became the primary. Wow.
Yeah,
Miss-
they had a couple of misquotes in there.
Yeah, that's fine.
But, yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I didn't realize this. This was back in October, but there you go. You can read that. I'm sure many of you are subscribed to Pro Shop Operator,
Yeah.
titled "Secrets of the New Head Coach at SNU."
Yeah. So it's cool. New programs don't get interviews like that. So the word's definitely out. You know, I if you saw my list of recruits for 2025 and 2024, vastly spread across the United States. More Seattle, Washington kids. I even have a New York kid.
Where's the
Really?
hotbed? Is it still like kind of Ohio-ish? That
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of Midwest
upper-
region?
Yeah, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That
Big bowling
is where,
meccas.
that's where the vast majority of the best players are.
It's hard to, I wouldn't imagine there's many like beach cities that have a thriving bowling.
Southern California used to be big time. I mean, that's where I grew up. That's where I came from. And it's still very impactful. It's just, it's not like it once was. My next recruiting trip, though, is pretty unique, pardon the pun. But I'm going to Las Vegas for something that no other
Really?
coach has ever done. Yeah.
Oh, you have live? Are you doing live? Oh, that's
Not-
for you.
Yeah. Not doing live, but
Oh, you can watch. Oh, here's the schedule right here.
Yeah.
Oh, this is where you guys will be. So I can show this. And if you want
Yeah.
to come out and support Mark Jeffries during the year, you'll be at all these events, I would imagine.
Yes. 100%.
Okay. Hold
Yeah.
on. There we go. So we have Fort Worth, Texas in October. Oh, I won't be there. I'll be
Yeah.
in Florida. Fort Worth, Texas, Wichita, Kansas, Fort Worth, Texas, Topeka,
Yeah.
Fairview Heights, Illinois, Dallas, Fort Worth, Plano, Kansas City, and San Antonio. And the season runs from October through February. And then the intercollegiate team sectionals start in March. So if you're in that neck of the woods, it is just SN, Southern Nazarene, SNU. Because I always looked up SMU and I'm like, holy cow, this is big time. SNUbowling.com 2023 schedule.
Yeah.
And you'd love to have BTL fans and listeners come out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That would be really. I know the kids would appreciate it too. And I'm telling you, Matthew, these college events are crazy. The chanting, the trash talking.
At the match?
Oh yeah.
So it's like a women's college softball game.
It's very competitive and very loud. And these kids, like I said, we're 5 weeks away from our opening event, and they will definitely have the deer in the headlights look. But I'm trying to get ready for that.
You got Brian Knighton on board, epic
Yep.
Bates owner and stuff.
He is an SNU alum.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
He's very very big supporter of the industry, not only through the Baits, but through Knighton Industries and Epic Baits. He does bass, he does MLF, all sorts of stuff. You need to check out Epic Baits if you guys have a chance. There's a lot of pro inspired designs there. I know Dean's part of it, Scott Suggs, Becker, there's a bunch, Canterbury.
He's from Oklahoma. He spent his college life at SNU. So it was a no-brainer to try and get Brian involved. And Brian is a huge, huge supporter of what I'm trying to accomplish here.
Phenomenal. All right, we're going to take our first break of the day. When we come back, we're going to talk about weather and bass fishing. It's Mark Jeffries' second appearance on BTL in 2023. We'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top on Strike King.
Shoreline Boat and RV, dock rash, storm damage, collision repair, that deep scratch or gouge from trying to access that secret creek. Shoreline Boat and RV can get your prized possession back in mint condition and looking good on the water, fast. All repairs are done in-house, so they're able to get your boat or RV back to brand new, quickly. All Shoreline's work comes with a rock-solid warranty. Find out more at shorelineboatandrv.com. Kansas City, Austin, and Tulsa. All right, welcome back, BTL on a Wednesday, talking with Mark Jeffries. And I think it was last week, we had Polish Pete and Trevor on from Omnia. And they always have different deals going on there. Not only do they have the Premium Pro with all of the mapping and wind and bottom hardness and all that, but they also have deals every week right now over at Omnia. 30% off all rainwear, sandals, and sunglasses, which is an interesting combo. And then if you do Savor Summer 20, you get 20% off site-wide, and that is through tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So 20% off site-wide through tomorrow. Hell of a deal, Mark Jeffries. Have you been
when you called me to come on, I was like, oh, man, he must be desperate.
No.
He's searching.
No, we had Zaldain on, and then Mike Malone. He does all the scheduling for MLF now.
Yep.
Had Mike Malone on. I thought I'd really throw people for a loop by having Zaldain on one day and then Mike Malone from MLF on the next day. Just keep them on the toes. You never know who's coming up next. And then I wanted to get you, but it is an odd time of the year. You have a lot of guys who go on. I mean, this is kind of their vacation time. The stress of the season, a lot of back-to-backs. You have Angler of the Year races, requalification races, classic races, and then you get done and you either make it and celebrate or you don't make it and you forget about it and unwind with and most of these guys take their significant others, wives, girlfriends, fiancés, families on trips because it's kind of a lonely road to hoe when you're out there all year, away from your family and stuff. So this is kind of how they make up for it and going into the off season where then they'll disappear into the woods for the next
I have some homework for you to do because
I'm
way too busy. I want you to tell me on the Elite Series how many guys made close to $100,000 without winning a tournament.
None, like two.
Okay,
2 or 3.
Is that because
it's really hard to?
It's really exactly.
I don't think Welcher did.
Did anybody come close to $100,000? Without winning an event?
I don't know. Kyle only had 2 top 10s the entire year, which meant 6 or 7 of the events were 10,000, which is 70.
And he won Angler of the Year, right?
Yeah.
And what was his gross earnings?
Well, I mean, he won $100,000 for winning Angler of the Year.
Yeah,
so.
Forget about that.
So hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 10 because he cashed a check in every single event, which would be
Yeah.
90,000. Then he made 19,000 at the Sabine River. So there's 120,000.
Okay.
He did 120,000. His finishes were 13th, 15th, 18th, 41st, 25th, 7th, 44th, 25th, and 5th.
Okay. You know, I thought
So
about
he did
this.
almost $250,000 with the 100,000.
That's a great year, man.
That's a very solid year. Not as much as the guys are making over on the BPT though.
But still,
At the top.
for
Yeah, that's a
not
very
winning.
strong year.
Yeah, especially for not winning a tournament.
Because over on the Bass Pro Tour,
Okay, let me test your intelligence, of which you should know this question. Who won?
no,
England?
it is roughly about the same thing that the guys are making because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I don't know if Heavy Hitters is in here or the Team Series
Yeah,
stuff
I
is in
gotcha.
here, but there's 7, 8.
So who won? Who
Ten,
won
11.
Angler of the Year last year?
Brandon, didn't he?
Was it? When did
Oh,
Seth Fighter?
no, that was multiple times ago.
Oh,
What's your point?
can't remember.
Yeah, I can.
Was it Brandon?
Yeah.
I'm sure the answers are flying up on the
It
comments.
was Brandon. That's what I said. And then before that, it was
Seth.
Seth, and then it was Clark, if I am correct. And then before Clark, it was Scott Canterbury, if I'm correct. Let's see. Yep, I got that right. And then before that, it was Lucas.
All right,
Then they
so
bounced.
let's get right into it. It'd be interesting to see from an Angler of the Year perspective how much influence that forward-facing sonar has had on that title over the past 5 years.
Yeah, I think based on some assess interviews, it didn't have very much at all in his. I know in Polonix, let's be honest, it did not, because when he won, Humminbird did not have the technology available to have effective forward-facing sonar.
Right.
So, I mean, he won Angler of the Year in 2022. And I mean, I know they had Humminbird live. So, I mean, it might have played to that extent, but I don't think it was massive.
So here's
This year at 100% was Welcher's an intra-season enigma. I think he's a combination guy, but he definitely used it in the last ones.
So here's the thought is forward-facing sonar going to win titles, or is forward-facing sonar going to increase your ability to get a check? What do you think?
I think it's the same because everyone's using it now. Dude, I'm not kidding. If you'd asked me this 2 months ago, I would say there's absolutely no way that this thing gets not banned. I don't think it'll ever get banned, but limited in some extent. Dude, I mean, especially over the past like month or 2 months, it's on the table. I mean, whether it's a viable option for it to get limited or banned or nothing, but I mean, it's on the radar. I should say that with the organizations. Does that make sense?
Yeah. In other words, they're assessing. Do you think they're assessing how much impact that this equipment is having on their tournament series?
I don't think they're assessing the impact that it's having. I don't think they care how they're getting caught. I think if it's impacting their viewership and the bottom dollar, that's where. So I would love to see. So like if everyone's bitching about it, but the viewership numbers are the same or higher than they've ever been,
Mm-hmm.
well, then there's no incentive because you're getting paid by the electronics companies and your viewership is high. So all you're hearing is a loud minority. But
That's an interesting point.
But if these numbers come in and they're lower, like lower
Mm-hmm.
for both of them, and you have all the smoke and fire around how the game is being played, then I think you have to assess what the electronics companies are bringing to the table and whether their funding of and sponsorship of the leagues or organizations are making up for that viewer loss. Or you see, I mean, is that not a business way to look at it, Mark?
In a way, but I would be curious to see what the fan feedback is.
The fan feedback seems to be primarily limited. I mean, you've got the grumpy old, oh, ban it in my day, you know. We should be dragging window weights behind the boat to figure out how deep it is.
Yeah. That's not what I'm asking, though. What I'm asking is from a viewership standpoint, not from
it's a Bass and MLF question.
Well,
which I can ask. I can ask him.
No. It's not an organization question. It is a fan question. And what I mean by that is, do the fans enjoy watching the guys constantly look down at their grass?
Okay, listen. It's easier to complain on social media than it is to praise. So if you just go on social media numbers, like what Gerald Swin,
dude. You can't.
Okay, then then you would have to literally poll every Bass member, every person who watches it. Well, or doesn't watch it. Like how do you determine what it is? How do you know that it's not just a few people who dislike it who are really loud and the vast majority who really are like, dude, it doesn't matter to my life whether I'm watching a guy who's staring at a beautiful sunrise when he sets the hook or staring at a 12-inch graph when he sets the hook.
Hey, what have I said all along? The three people that really matter in this, the fans, the companies, and the players.
I agree with Chuck. They should have to swim down and catch the fish with their damn teeth. Chuck, that's the greatest idea I've ever heard.
That's pretty funny. Now, hey, they have availability to do market research because they have all the data.
Yeah, they need to do market research.
That's what I'm saying. But it just in generalizing what the fans are watching, I think eventually the fans are going to get bored.
Well, yesterday with Zaldain, I suggested the theory that maybe the organizations need to alter their coverage of how they cover it with camera angles and what they show to where, yeah, a static shot from the back of the boat worked for the last 5 years, but that was before everybody was doing forward-facing sonar. So now if you can change the camera angles and show more on the screen, you can now show where the skill is because there is skill involved in it. I mean, 90, the people who are saying my 10-year-old, I saw a comment yesterday that said my 12-year-old could do what Patrick Walters did. My 12-year-old grandson. No, he couldn't. Your 12-year-old grandson could not do what Patrick Walters did. Just because he uses lives, just because I can turn my stove on and cook doesn't mean I'm Gordon Ramsay. Just because you can live sub doesn't mean you're the top of the game at it. But what the organizations have done is they've done a poor job. I wouldn't say they've done a poor job. It's a new problem that they're trying to figure out how to navigate of showcasing the skill that is involved in forward-facing sonar. I told Zaldain, I said it'd be like it's like getting 2 points and they just show that you scored 2 points, but they don't show how. So whether it's a 360 windmill dunk or a layup, like it's like, oh well, I can lay it. There's skill involved. Like you have to be like, dude, did you see Taco hit that fish at 110 feet out, 6 feet down, and keep the bait above it in a 3-foot chop? Like that's the stuff that people don't understand where the skill and talent is, but it's not on the anglers to showcase that. It's on the organizations to figure out how to make that viable or make the technology illegal to use to some extent.
All right, here's a question I would really like to know. I would like to know anywhere in the nation, is there a tournament trail,
Muskie,
a individual trail, whatever, that has banned forward-facing sonar?
I know the professional Muskie Trail did, and that was it.
That's it. Do you think that the fans would be more entertained and learn more if they did not allow, say they had one tournament a year where, hey, guys, you can't use forward-facing sonar. Would that generate some interest from a fan base?
I mean, would it not just create a groundswell of, oh, we loved this, and then there'd be even more backlash?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know either.
I think that there is a core group of fans out there, but once again, it goes back to the organizations doing their market research, that I think there is a large number of fans out there that would enjoy seeing that. Unfortunately, I don't think that's ever going to happen, and I don't think forward-facing sonar is ever going away. You know, there is a similar situation, and I hate to bring it up, but I am going to say the bowling thing. One of the iconic bowling balls manufactured by one of the Brunswick brands, the PBA and the USBC has said, hey, you got to change the hardness of this bowling ball, and any year prior to whatever it is, I don't know, 2021, you can't use that ball because it was winning too many tournaments. And unfortunately, a part of the game has gotten to the point where it does not matter the skill level that the bowler has. It's the bowling ball that matters more. Okay, so now let me make that comparison to fishing. Is it not truly the ability to find, locate, and pattern fish has gotten to the point where now what's more important is that you fine-tune your forward-facing sonar skills, that if you want to truly have a shot at winning or getting a check, you better get dialed in on forward-facing sonar.
I mean, that's where it's at right now.
Do you think people are sick of talking about it and sick of seeing it?
Yeah, it's just like when the Alabama rig came out. Now, the Alabama rig still sold even when it got banned from the major organizations. A couple of listeners have pointed out that would be the greatest thing for it.
Yeah.
Is if it did get banned. Because then, I mean, you'd be in tournaments and you'd have your Garmin up there and you'd just pop the screen out and you'd be good to go.
All right. I have not seen the list. I haven't seen the Angler of the Year standings list or anything like that. But I would think that some of the guys that have been around a long time are going to fail to qualify for next year. Is that a true assessment?
Yeah. There's a lot of the old guard that's still, in my opinion, and I've talked to a couple of them about it. They're still doing the Bassmaster article seasonal pattern things, right? Mm-hmm. I was talking with an angler last week, and we were talking about the upcoming open schedule with the back-to-back on Watts Bar and Lake of the Ozarks. He said, it's a really tough time of the year. And I said, dude, there is no tough time of the year anymore. I said, there is no seasonal patterns. I said, it was the tough time of the year because those fish in September, October in the majority of the country would get out, suspend, and the bass would follow them and chase them offshore, which would make them really hard to find and pattern because they were pelagic bait chasing fish. I was like, now that's what is targeted. Like, we could catch those fish now. So this whole fall patterns thing is BS right now, because the fish that couldn't get caught, which is what made it tough, now it's the easiest time of the year to freaking catch them. I mean, I went out on Rayburn last October in an open on Rayburn, having been there 2 or 3 times. I go under the bridge there. I see balls of bait. I see things under it, and I catch 30 a day jerk baiting the middle. I cannot express to you how much I am saying the middle of the lake on nothing, and I cash a check. And there's 50 guys out there who are doing what you should do that fall that have done it on Rayburn for 20 years and have thousands of hours. And I'm out there throwing a jerk bait in the middle of the lake, catching 40 keepers a day.
Is that entertaining?
I don't care if it's entertaining, but was that skill for me, or was that, should I have been able to do that? I don't know. I was there were like 2 other guys, and Sokup was one of them, that was out there doing that out of the entire field in that part of the lake. Yeah. Now, I know Austin was down lake doing it. Other guys were down lake doing it, but you see what I'm saying there? Like, it takes out some of the experience and stuff that should have carried guys to checks.
So let me ask you this. Do you think some of the guys are just saying they're being stubborn? They're like, I'm not going to take the time at this point in my career to get better at forward-facing sonar. I'm going to continue to put a square peg in a round hole.
100%.
Okay.
I also think that there's a group that think that the more anglers go offshore and target it, the less guys are on the bank. Hackney's talked about this. A couple of the other guys have talked about this, that their water opens up more.
Because it's not getting pounded.
Yeah, because it's not getting pounded. And I mean, Hackney had a good year. He finished in 20th. But I mean, I'm looking at this list here. Like Cobb wasn't a massive scoper. You know, Michael Neal before last year, he had only used forward-facing sonar in 30% of his FLW Invitational tournaments.
Interesting. So, what was the cut line for the Classic?
Sorry if I'm interrupting you. Steve says I'm interrupting you too much.
Oh.
Brian wanted to know your thoughts, and Steve's like, Matt won't shut the hell up. Sorry. I apologize if I was interrupting you too much, Mark.
No, it's all good. What ended up being the cut line for the Classic?
As far as I could tell right now, it's 42. Because Patrick Walters double qualified because they didn't have a TTBC this year, I guess.
Yeah.
Or a Toyota Texas Fest, I don't think.
Yeah.
But they made the last event win and you're in. And I would assume that's for two reasons. A, to give the, what did you call it? The carrot?
Yeah.
Dangle the carrot for guys that were like, I don't want to go up and do back-to-back on Champlain and Thousand Islands. Well, now they got the carrot. Yeah, winning you're in. So Gussie dropped to 52nd, so he did not get an automatic, a double qualifying, but then with
the winning you're in.
Yeah.
Interesting. Did
so 42. So that
we're not having the standings pulled up, but
he did zero
just,
research.
It's just stuff that I'm thinking about on top of my head. Did Iaconelli make it?
No.
He did not make the Classic cut.
Yeah, that was an interesting end to Ike's year. So he was top 10. He started the year with like 41st, 10th, 11th, 34th, and 48th. He's in the top 10 in the Angler of the Year. And then his last three, which are smallmouth, which I would like to know what Ike's.
So you're telling me the last three events were smallmouth events and Iaconelli did not make the Classic?
73rd, 86th, and 79th.
Wow.
That's what I said. I texted someone. I said, man, if I had a puppy, I would keep it away from Mike Iaconelli because he would punt that thing right now. I promise you.
Wow. Well, hopefully he will be in a much better mood come September.
I think we've covered this, right? Matt, ask Mark what he thinks on the comments that forward-facing sonar is the new Alabama rig and will be banned in the future. You don't think it'll be banned in the future?
I don't. And the only reason that it's different than the A rig because you're not putting millions of dollars in play based upon the sales of the A rig. The sponsorship money and the connection between the manufacturers and the organizations is going to be a stumbling block to ever think about having that banned. Quite honestly, if it was me, I would step out and I would go get another company to supplement that advertising revenue and say, look, guys, we're done. All right, forward-facing sonar banned because now I've created a new revenue stream, and I think it would create a major buzz in the industry for the first organization to say, you know what? We went out, we busted our tails, we got a new sponsor. We don't have to worry about the revenue stream.
But how do you justify that? How do you justify that? The whole thing is helping you catch more fish. I understand the motor because that's a safety issue. I understand some of that stuff for safety issue. The Alabama rig was very controversial.
And forward-facing sonar is not? That's why everybody's talking about it, Matt. It's very controversial. The reason is because it goes away from what this sport was founded on. You go out, you work hard, you pattern fish, you put together a plan, and then you go out and you execute. All right.
You can do that.
You go out,
You
you
can't
search,
do that?
you hunt, you find, you wait, and then you look down. I mean, that's what the game is turning into. And I don't think it's entertaining. I don't think the fans are enjoying continuing to watch guys look down at their screen. And I think the vast majority of people think about this, Matt, and I don't know who has said this before, but for people that are wanting to get into this game, is the first thing they have to do go out and buy forward-facing sonar if they want to catch fish?
No, but for people who want to get in the game, I mean, I would love to see the stats on someone who goes bass fishing 2-3 times and then puts it down and never picks it back up. How much more likely are those people to stay in it if the first couple times they go out, they can watch a fish go down and eat their stuff and they're actually catching fish and they're hooked on it and they're going, oh my gosh, I watched you bite it.
Dude,
now they're freaking fans. Now they're anglers for life.
You and I both know the likelihood of that happening to somebody that let's say they drop 10 grand on forward-facing sonar. They don't know how to use it. You have said on this show, I know when I was still around, that it takes months, if not years, to master that technique.
So then it is a skill.
It is a skill. But what I'm saying is that's not going to get people to enjoy and become a part of this game more. Honestly, if I had the ability to make a decision or make a ruling on this, I mean, I'm kind of outside here anyway. I as an organization, I would meet with my sales staff and I would say, look, we want to ban forward-facing sonar. It doesn't matter what company. So I need you guys and girls to go out and market our brand to bring in additional revenue to cover the fallout that might take place from us banning forward-facing sonar. Now, if I'm the electronics companies, am I going to go, oh, well, you're banning forward-facing sonar, we don't want to be a part? I'm not going to do that. If I'm smart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I understand it. Now you have to create a product and a marketing campaign that's going to capture those people that the vast majority probably agree with the ban on this. Okay? It is a very complicated, simple situation. You either ban it or you don't. If you ban it, you got to make up the revenue just in case those companies don't want any part of the ban. You know, I honestly, the marketing research, I would love.
How would you do that?
To do that.
Like, explain how to do that. Like, what does it
mean?
involve? Okay, if I'm Bassmaster, I want to do market research on the product that I'm putting out on FS1 and on the live show.
You have information on every single member in Bass, right? You could do an email campaign. Yeah, it may end up in spam. Yeah, it might end up in your junk folder or whatever. But the feedback that you get, put it on the very front page of your Bassmaster website. We want your opinion. Give us feedback as fans of the game. Should forward-facing sonar be banned? And don't do it in a social media platform because you never know. At least this way you would have trackable data and feedback from your actual membership.
So what percent is enough?
I'm not really sure how.
60% comes back. What if 60% comes back and says, yeah, it should be banned? But then you've got 40% that say no. Like, what's the number where you're like, all right, this is the tipping point. It needs to be regulated.
I don't think you can say, all right, if they're over 70%, we're going to ban it. Because I don't think, obviously, that it's just the fans that are being affected by this. I think you need to get feedback from the anglers themselves, and I think you need to get feedback from the companies, quite honestly, because you still want to work with them. You don't want to go, oh, hey, listen, we're going to ban forward-facing sonar. We don't want you to be involved now. No, you put together a game plan that makes it better for all three parties that I've always said that you have to take care of: the fans, the sponsors, and the anglers. All right, there shouldn't be a decision made without taking into consideration those three things. And if you want to throw a fourth one in there, it's the organization itself. You have to make the decision that is really the best thing for all four pieces. But I think the most important thing is the fans and the anglers. The fans drive the consumer behavior on what's taking place on any of these tournament trails.
Okay, so what happens then when let's say hypothetically, let's do a hypothetical scenario here, Mark. Both organizations say we're done, no forward-facing sonar whatsoever in 2024. Not going to happen, but let's say in 2024.
Okay.
Now you got a bunch of guys on tour who just qualified, who use forward-facing sonar, who are in their 20s, who that is their game. That would be like telling Steph Curry there's no more three-pointer in basketball.
Well,
what do you do with them? You just let them suck for a couple years and fall out, or adapt? You're basically like adapt or die. You got here on forward-facing sonar, but now you got to stay here without it because you got a bunch of people who got here without it that are now trying to figure out how to stay here with it.
Dude, it's not the organization's responsibility for you to take care of your career and get your game dialed in. It's called adversity. It's called adapting. It's called doing what you have to do to be successful. Hence, that's why a lot of guys right now are suffering because they haven't adapted to the way the game is being played now, and they're suffering. It's their choice. And look, if you step up and this is what you want to do in life and you call yourself a professional angler, which I think still is one of the most overused terms in this game. But if you truly are a professional angler and you earn your living catching fish, then by gosh, you better do whatever is necessary to improve your career and adapt to the rules and the situations that are turning into what you need to do to be successful.
All right. So one of the
I didn't mean to throw you off your game, man.
No, I'm trying to think of how I said. I'm trying to make sure I show, like Red's Fishes says he loves watching forward-facing sonar events. Coverage of it will only improve.
Yeah.
One of the popular things is inches, number of inches of screen. And everybody said, let's do 60 inches of screen. Then you could have 4 12-inch units. Well, you're still at the exact same thing that you're at now, right? Like that, I don't think. So here's my suggestion. 16 inches of screen. Now, this is a hypothetical. Now, here's what you could do. You can either have a little bitty tiny graph up front and a little bitty tiny graph in the back, but only one unit. Or you can have one big graph up front, but you got no mapping in the back. Or you can have mapping and navionics and all that, but no forward-facing sonar or depth or anything up front. You really want to make guys make decisions, give them 12. This sounds horrible, but give them 12 or 16 inches to work with.
Oh my goodness.
You see what I'm saying? Now you're making to make a decision, because we did a call with Dave Mercer, and I still think that navionics and GPS precision mapping is the biggest advancement in fishing over the past 30 years.
Okay.
Because you don't know where to live scope, you don't know where to find the fish. Imagine if you had no idea where to go or how to get there to look and find the fish. Like, you could be the best race car driver in the world, but if you can't get to the track, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, what you need to do is you need to archive this show, and 4 years from now, when my freshman class are seniors, we need to see what the status is of forward-facing sonar and what position it has, not only in the tournament foundation, but from a fan perspective and from a consumer perspective. What, in 4 years from now, is forward-facing sonar going to be $40,000, $30,000? Because the technology is going to continue to get better. And here's what's weird, all right? And some people out there may not think about this, but I remember when VCRs first came out. I'm really dating myself here. Hey, dude, they were like $2,500.
VCRs?
People had them, all right? And then eventually, as the technology progressed, they got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper to where what? You can get a VCR now, even though it's not really applicable. You can get a VCR for $50. All right. Are we going to see that trend with forward-facing sonar technology? Doesn't look that way because the price just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So, I see the statement from Brian A. there.
Well, this is a two-part statement. What are your thoughts on this part?
The total interest screen idea is dumb. It's either 100% or nothing. I kind of agree with that.
Then his second part is that's like limiting the number of rods, baits, and tackle on a boat. Mark, tell Brian what they used to do in the Bassmaster Classic.
You were limited on the amount of tackle and the number of rods. And I don't even remember what it was. I think some years it was 8, might have increased to 10. But your tackle amount was limited too. And once again, that is more of a purist thing. And I think a lot of the purists out there are upset with forward-facing sonar, and it's been, it's been a revolution of how the game is changed. And as we're plenty aware of, Matt, some people just don't like change. But it is going to see how going to be really interesting to see how this thing evolves over the next 4 years, because decisions have to be made. And making no decision is still a decision on the organization's part. But I'm really curious, me being the bean counter, is the price going to continue to increase? And will it get to the point now where you've got $100,000 bass boat, with the motor, and you got $50,000 worth of electronics on there? And let me break it down like this. Think about this, Matt. Obviously, you've been entrenched in the game for a zillion years. But for the weekend person that spends their disposable income on a new bass boat and goes fishing, if they fish 20 times a year, 20 weekends a year, that's a lot. Agree or disagree?
It's a ton.
That is a ton. So the vast majority of the people that have that bass boat and tournament fish and spend that money, realistically, they're probably going out maybe 10, maybe 15 weekends a year. Are people going to make the decision that that is what they want to do with their disposable income? When are we going to reach that point of the sine curve where the price point is going to get to a spot where finally people are saying, you know what? I'm not paying $150,000 for a bass boat. I'm not paying 15 grand for electronics. When is that going to happen? It's going to happen. It's just a matter of when is that going to happen. And I can't see the vast majority of people being able to continue the trend that's taking place. From a debt management standpoint, that's how the vast majority of people are surviving right now. They are stretching out the payments. They're extending the time period. But now you've got this major thing going on with interest rates. I am really, really curious to see how the revenue aspect of this whole forward-facing sonar is going to end up, because with interest rates going up and the fact that disposable income is going down, it's going to be a big challenge.
And look, this is the first major advancement in the sport that really plays out on social media.
Do you know? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's all good. What do I know? There's a lot that I know.
Do you know, or do you have any idea what the first? I'm just going to call it a tracking trolling motor was.
What the hell's a tracking trolling motor?
Like, you know how the trolling motors of today, you put on spot lock, boom.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
or it will actually follow a certain direction.
They've had the tracking stuff for off and on for a ton of years that they haven't been able to refine, but the Ultrex was the first spot lock.
Right. But the original company was called Pinpoint. And I don't know if you remember that or not. And you know who was actually involved with Pinpoint just for a little while? Alan McGuckin.
Really?
Yeah. And the technology that came out, this was in the 80s, dude. And the trackability or the ability to program trolling motors to go and follow contour lines and specific routes. It was amazing, but the technology and the cost really didn't spur consumer interest. Plus, there were some challenges that they had with the technology. They just didn't have it dialed in. So we have been down this point, pardon the pun, before with technology. But now I think technology has just gotten to the point where they're doing an incredible job with the development in the technology that's put at the forefront now. Spot lock, I think that's been a game changer. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree, but it's been a game changer in convenience and staying on a spot. Like no one ever, I don't know. I don't remember any controversy over side imaging and down imaging. I don't remember any controversy over spot lock. And I mean, I was around, I started before this stuff was a thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember any controversy over it, but also like Instagram didn't launch till 2011 and Facebook back then was colleges only. So this is the first major advancement where everyone has an opinion that you can hear.
Yeah.
And then you've also got, so this is, I want to get your take on this, and then we'll take a break and come back because we have to get into KVD's retirement and the Hall of Fame banquet and all sorts of stuff. I don't know how much time you got.
I'm good, man.
This is what really grinds my gears are the people like Randy Blockett gets on his channel and talks about how it's ruining fisheries and it's decimating fisheries and state agencies need to make it illegal and it's spotlighting deer. Show me the freaking proof. Show me the studies. Show me the data. You can't just say it to your thousands of listeners and then they get it in their heads that it's doing all this. You have no proof of that. Show me the hard data where it's showing me that the fisheries are being decimated, that it's bad to target pelagic offshore roamers in the fishery. That's just straight BS in my opinion. That's the only thing that really ticks me off about this whole thing. And then it comes on our deal and they regurgitate it on everything. There's zero freaking data on that, Mark. There's no proof that it's doing anything to damage the fisheries. And every third freaking video he does is about it. And it drives me absolutely nuts. Show me some freaking data.
I agree with you 100%, man. And, it's kind of the way that we did things years ago. And I've always been a believer. Journalism has changed and media obviously has changed, but with the exposure that individuals have and the presence and influence that people have, I am still a firm believer that if you're going to go off on a tangent or you're going to stand by something
statistical element, some support, some studies, something.
It's pure speculation, all right, because there is no proof. There you have to have, all right, data. You have to have facts. You have to have the factual story to be able to truly base an opinion on it. So I
wanted to throw my phone probably 10 times over the last 2 years, and 8 of those times are because of Randy Blockett.
Yeah. It's speculation.
And listen, I'm not taking away of anything that he's done with his career and what he's done. He puts these videos out and invites feedback like this. Like that's what he thrives off of. That's how he makes his living.
Yeah.
It is as part. But you can't say stuff if there's no facts to it because it's ironic. I'm in the industry. I listen to this stuff and you're verbatim seeing all this stuff appear days after Randy says it, and you go back and you're like, that's a little oddly familiar. It's propaganda is all it is. Clickbait propaganda. Like if those are the stats, then preach it from the freaking mountaintops every single day, 2 videos a day. Hell, I'll replay it on BTL. But until there's any proof or stats about it, you can't say crap that you just believe. We got to take a break. We'll get into some other stuff unrelated to this. when we get back. Do you have a piece that you want to say to close things out on this chapter of our lives, Mark?
No, I mean, obviously I'm not close to the game anymore, but I'm still interested to see how the whole forward-facing sonar situation develops over the next few years. And I believe that the first organization that actually handles this and makes a decision on what they're going to do, because obviously the public, the fans, the anglers want to know what the heck's going on. And silence is very loud. And the silence that's taking place right now, the loudness is actually noise. And the noise is coming from the fans and the anglers. So let's see if the noise gets reduced. Let's see if there's an organization out there that's going to take a stand on this. And I don't think they can do anything until they do the market research. A
person or thing that is popular or fashionable among a particular group or section of society, a system, a devotion directed towards a particular figure or object, a relatively small group of people that have beliefs and practices that are regarded by others as strange or sinister, as imposing excessive control over its members. Those are the three definitions of a cult. All right, BTL.
Oh, banger.
On a Wednesday with Mark Jeffries. We'll be back right after this.
The great thing about the new Sensation soft plastics from Big Bite Baits, heavily scented, super soft, buoyant, comes in 7 great new shapes. I've got a couple of them of my signature series, the cliffhanger worm and the ram-tailed craw. Great for a flipping jig, football jig, swim jig, all that. Several other great shapes. Really excited about it. We've worked over the last year, catches fish all over the country, and I think it's going to catch fish for people everywhere you try it.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro is coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the Matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that Matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves a house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for everyday carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, you just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com. Welcome back, BTL on a Wednesday, talking with Mark Jeffries.
Dude, Michael Neal did a great job on that commercial, but they had the wrong guy doing that. Who should have done that? Huh?
Biffle.
Yeah.
Biffle with the knives. The EDC, which stands for Everyday Carry. They're great knives. I actually have one. Like, it's worth getting them. They're very reasonably priced. They're Gamakatsus.
I would have loved
They're
to
badass
see
knives.
Biffle doing that commercial, man.
I do feel like if you're going to carry them, though, you need to limit the length of the blade. You get too big of a blade. It's just way too easy to cut stuff.
Yeah.
Apple doesn't stand a chance. Like back in the day, you really had to worry about cutting the apple up. Now with the EDC blades, it's just you look at the apple wrong after you pull the knife out, it cuts itself. There's no skill involved in cutting apples anymore on the water with the EDC blades.
Yeah.
It needs to be a maximum of a 5-inch blade.
Very nice.
You're going to be at the Hall of Fame this year, Mark.
I am.
I don't know what we can or can't get into. You're not in the Hall of Fame, but you'll be a part of it. This whatever you could say about it, just go ahead and say. I don't want to get you in trouble.
It's not a secret or anything. And I think for the people that have watched this show over the years, they know that Mike Iaconelli and I have been really, really good friends for a long, long time. And, we talk. It's not an every week. It's not an everyday thing or anything like that. But the dynamic that takes place between the media and the players, it goes, it can go a couple of different ways. Either they tolerate each other or they hate each other. Hate's a strong word. They have a strong dislike for the media, or in a rare situation, they actually develop a strong friendship between a member of the media and the player. It doesn't matter what sport it is. And I can remember in the early years that Mike was a tremendous help and influence and really grasped what I was trying to accomplish in being really the first independent beat writer. And the way it was established when I went out there for the very first year of the Elite Series and developed a really cool friendship with Mike. And it's extended for, good grief, almost 30 years. So it was a couple months ago, I got a phone call from Mike, and we talked a little bit. And he said, "Hey, man," he said, "the reason that I'm calling is, as you hopefully know, I was voted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame." And I was like, "Yeah, what do you, I still vote in that. I'm still part of that." I said, "I voted for you." And we just started laughing a little bit. He said, "Hey, Becky asked me who was I going to have introduce me at the Hall of Fame. And he told me that there was only one person that I wanted to do that, and that was me. And he asked me, he said, 'Mark, would you be willing to introduce me during my Hall of Fame induction ceremony?'" And it kind of floored me. I was overwhelmed. I think it's one of the coolest things that somebody in the industry has asked me to do, mainly because Mike was there when I started out, and the friendship, the projects that Mike and I have worked on together, just some of the memories that we have. It was a very, very special phone call. So on September 28th, when Mike Iaconelli is inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, I will do the introduction for him and introduce him to the crowd. And when you think about all the people that have been a part of Mike Iaconelli's life through his bass fishing career, I am truly honored to be the one selected to introduce Mike. And we were the only ones to do a documentary specifically on his life, not necessarily his tournament aspect, but just his life aspect. And one of the coolest moments in all the years that I worked in the industry was sitting on the steps of the Delaware River where Mike won that event. And it was kind of his hometown deal. And I actually got to see and hear what Mike Iaconelli truly is about. And I'm not talking Ike. I'm talking Michael Iaconelli. And to have this honor and for Mike to ask me to do this, I can't wait to introduce him. I don't need to write a speech. I'm only going to go about 2 minutes. I know for some people, they'll think,
you're winging it?
Huh?
You're winging it?
Oh, yeah. In all the windshield time that I've had, I have went through my mind over and over and over what I'm going to say. And there's no need to have it written down on a piece of paper or index cards or anything like that, because of the experience and the friendship that Mike and I have had over the years. There's no need for anything to be written down.
That's bold.
It's all right here. And it's going to be a special night. I know I'm going to see some people that I haven't seen over the last 2 years. But I think that the impact that Mike has had in this game is unlike anybody else over the last 30, 40 years. And some people might say, the iconic television shows of Bill Dance and Roland Martin and Hank Parker. But when it falls back to what I coined many years ago, the 3 E's, the educate, entertain, and engage, there are very, very few anglers, professional anglers, that have taken that and run with it in a manner of how Mike has done it over the years. The other thing, too, he's accomplished some stuff that other people just have not done. He won the Federation Nation. He won the Bassmaster Classic. He was Angler of the Year. And, the year he won Angler of the Year, I was the only guy around Mike when he dove into the water to try and catch his line when a fish broke off. Only one picture exists of that moment. And I had that picture, and it's actually in my studio at home. But so many memories, so many life memories, not just fishing memories, in my friendship with Mike and with Becky over the years. Could not be more honored than be the man that's going to introduce Mike at the Hall of Fame.
That's well said. Have you seen his list of hobbies on his bass? I was trying to figure out what you were going to say. Have you seen what his list of hobbies include under his biography on Bassmaster?
No. What are they?
Fishing, breakdancing, collecting old ink bottles, which I think he does.
Okay.
Gardening, water polo, laser tag, candy making, ghost hunting, Civil War reenactment, needlecraft, ham radio, macrame, playing the flute, graffiti artist, Illuminati researcher, and extreme ironing.
I mean, is that not typical Mike?
It is. He was not a happy camper at the last event on stage. And I had a lot of people that right after were like, well, what are your thoughts on what he did on stage? And I'm like, dude, there's a reason why he's going into the Hall of Fame. He breaks the mold. And he's Mike Iaconelli. I'm sneaking in a dog, and right when he gets announced and gets up on stage, I have that thing. I'm going to start poking it, and it's going to start barking.
I actually sent him a text, and I did not get a response, but eventually I will. That's just how he is. And the word passion and so many other words go along with Ike, but if you haven't seen the documentary, and this is not a shameless plug or anything, I think there are some scenes in that documentary that people really haven't seen Mike Iaconelli. And the opening scene is him working in the garden with his daughter. And he was really into it, and that just kind of gives you an indication of what kind of a family person that Mike is and how important his family is. So it's going to be an incredible night. Looking forward to it, September 28th. And, I can't wait to see what Mike says on stage during his acceptance speech of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. There it is right there. I mean, he is
is that Stella there? Look at
yeah,
like a little toddler there. I think she's like a lacrosse superstar right now. I'm not kidding. I think that was the last time I saw. I think she's like,
yeah. So, and that was the first 20 feet deep that I did, and I spent a week with him, and it was so cool not to see Ike, but to be around Michael Iaconelli. So well deserved, and can't wait to be a part of it, man.
All right. I also want to get your take. You covered KVD just as much as anybody else has over the years, if not more. Bass Zone was at its heyday when KVD, well, he's been at the top of his game for decades, but when KVD was untouchable, during that Angler of the Year run. Your thoughts on his retirement? Was it? I don't want to put you in any direction. Your thoughts on his retirement?
I just think that it's cool that there are people involved in athletics and in any sport, and even for the people involved in fishing, to where they know when it's time to walk away. And I respect him immensely, not just as an angler, but everything that he has contributed to this game. And I wish, and I think a lot of other people feel the same way, it would have been cool to see the greatest of all time walk off the Bassmaster Classic stage for one final time and ride off into the sunset. But, you know, we all know that decisions are made and things happen for a reason. But at the same time, there are very, very few people over the next 50 years of this game that are going to have more influence and be more dominating from a tournament perspective than what Kevin has done. You know, a quick funny story. This is real quick. I remember I went up to his house, and it was the first time that I had been on the water with him in Michigan. And, you know, this is a goofy old man from California that had no idea what a Honeycrisp apple was. Right? I didn't. I didn't know the difference in apples. And Kevin loves Honeycrisp apples. So before we went,
most goats do.
Before we went back to the hotel that night where we were staying at, before we went on the lake, he goes, "Man, I got to go by the store. We got to get some Honeycrisp apples." And I was like, "What are you talking about, man?" I said, "You seriously? We got to go by the store and get apples?" He goes, "You've never had a Honeycrisp apple?" I was like, "No, an apple's an apple. I don't know what they're called. I have no idea." And he introduced to me Honeycrisp apples. And ever since then, man, I love the Honeycrisp apples. But it's just kind of a weird, unique, quirky thing about KVD. And when I was in the boat with him, in his boat, when he wasn't tournament fishing, it was amazing to see the skill, the effort, that defined line that he was so far above from an angling standpoint. It's just I'm glad that he has decided to go out at this point in his career, because I think he still has an enormous amount of value to the fans of this game, to the sport itself, and continuing to represent the companies that he's been involved with for years. So kudos to everything that he's done for me and to the sport, and to given to all the fans.
Is this a Honeycrisp apple? That's a Honeycrisp apple.
That's a Honeycrisp apple. And
$1.99.
Yeah, there's something really unique about them, because they're really they're kind of sweet, but they're not mushy.
Yeah, I hate a mushy apple. That's why I like the Granny Smiths, because they're crisp and tart.
Yeah,
but this has sweet and crisp.
Yeah.
All right, I'll ask you a question that doesn't have a right answer. And in order to answer it honestly, you have to think of KVD as more of like a commodity or a thing instead of a human being with a soul, feelings, and the ability to make his own decisions.
Right.
Did KVD retire? You have option A, B, and C. A, the forward-facing sonar revolution, and he realized that he is behind the 8 ball, and he just didn't like the way it was going, and he could tell based on the last 3 years that he wasn't going to be able to get ahead of this thing and he was going to get beat. B, I'll identify it as organizational tomfoolery, and we'll leave it at that. Or C, he was really ready to hang it up.
I will do C with an asterisk by it, because I truly believe this was a decision that had to do with his family and what he wants to do with the remainder of his physical ability to do some of the things in life that he just hasn't been able to do. Dude, think about how many years this guy has been going at it.
33.
That is a ton of time on the water. Plus, throw in all the promotional trips, all the demands that are put on this, the initials KVD. I just think he got to a point where he sat down with his wife. His kids are off. Obviously, he's got empty nest now, and he's like, I think I'm done. I think I want to enjoy the time that I have left, still be involved in the industry, but do some things in life that I just have not been able to do. And some people might say, what are you talking about, Mark? He's the greatest angler of all time. He can do anything he wants. And I don't think people truly understand the time commitment and the sacrifice that KVD gave this sport over those 30 plus years. And now I think it's finally time that he spends some time with his wife and enjoying the results of just one of the greatest careers that this game has ever seen.
Take any human emotion out once again. Yes or no question. Does KVD make a cast competitively with a Bassmaster shield on his jersey ever again?
No. And I really, really believe that. I think he is. I think he's done.
Okay.
What do you think?
Option. I've already got over it. I don't think he's done. I think he thinks he's done, but dude,
he might show up at the Thursday night fruit jar.
Listen, I'm not saying that I know the guy.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not like best friends with Kevin, right?
Yeah.
But I've been around Kevin, and he has to be competing in something. He has to be. Like, that's his essence.
Dude, I'm telling you, for 30 plus years, I agree with you. But I think everybody reaches a point where they are ready to walk away.
All right, so TV show,
yeah,
charity work, product development, nothing, all of the above.
All of the above.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still going to be connected in the industry. The initials are not going away. The one exception to that, about eventually, everybody comes to a point where they have to walk away. Who's the obvious exception to that point?
What do you mean?
In the angling industry.
Who walked away?
Who doesn't walk away?
Oh, Rick.
Yeah. I don't think he'll ever walk away, dude.
No, but I don't think he needs to walk away. And I think that's one of the beautiful things in the sport is it is capable of anglers having longevity of it. And at certain time you earn a freaking right to stay there and be there. And
Yeah.
Rick is there because he's utilizing his Legends points. I think Fritz just ran out this year, by the way,
Yeah.
but he's utilizing his Legends points, which he earned, which gives him a spot on the Elite Series. And his wife, Melissa, posts a bunch of stuff on the Instagram and Facebook for him. And she said, hey, posting for Rick. Rick had a great day on the water. He thoroughly enjoyed himself. He caught 20 keepers. He had 17 pounds. The standings don't reflect. I mean, Rick, for as much as he's preached integrity and quality of life and like what he does, he's still living what he does. And dude, like the fact that he's even able to go out there is massively inspiring. And you
It
forget
is.
he's won twice out of the last 6 years, but like I look at him like totally different now. He's a guy who is still living his dream every single day and appreciates it and knows what he has. It's awesome. It's awesome.
I agree.
It's awesome. I hope he does it till he's 85.
I agree. All right, now let me kind of get your thoughts on this. These are two things that I believe should happen with the Bassmaster Elite Series, and you can tell me if I'm off my rocker or not. One, I think because of the age of the Elite Series now, and because of the age of the anglers, I think during a Bassmaster Elite Series event, there should be a limited number of sponsorship exemptions for tour veterans. In other words, if you add, and I'm just going to use the number 4, okay? Let's say the number of sponsorship exemptions is 4. I believe that Bass should allow 4 sponsorship exemptions, if that's the right number, to people that have been a part of this sport as a recognized seasoned tour veteran, such as a KVD or such as a Jay Ellis or whoever, that if they want to participate in one event a year, that boom, they get that sponsorship exemption. Let the fans enjoy it. Let the guys that have made this game better, give them an opportunity if they want to fish one tournament a year. What's 4 more spots really going to do in a Bassmaster Elite Series? Agree or disagree?
Well, they would just compete for the money and not the Angler of the Year points.
Yep.
It would. Clay says sponsorship exemptions are messy. I've also picked up that bad habit from you where I go, agree or disagree? Yes or no? Am I wrong or am I right? I do that every show now, but it's a great open-ended question. Yeah, I agree that sponsorship exemptions are messy because then you end up with the scenario of a guy who's sitting on a spot that a guy who's fishing for the actual points is also fishing. And then you have the dude, you're in this for a one-off. You need to let me have it. So it does have the potential to affect the outcome. I also see the positive side of it with the golf and the sponsor exemptions that they have for every tournament. I think it could work both ways too, where you could have a superstar college or high school angler that actually gets in the field and it could jumpstart his career. You can have the legends, you can have the hometown hero. I think it's a slippery slope when you start doing that, when you get exemptions for anglers that have extreme or that are very good on specific bodies of water. So how do you know that you're not going to have a guy who's like, well, this is the local guy who's the absolute stud, we're going to give him a sponsorship and then let him in this tournament?
All right, time out. I'm only talking about, you put the legends category. That's the only ones I'm talking about.
Okay.
If you have a list of legends that are eligible for sponsorship exemptions based upon their contributions to the professional fishing game, that is where the local or the legend sponsorship exemption would come in.
No, I agree. I still think a Legends Tour, I've said this before and I'll say it again, a Legends Tour, Great Lakes only, fall of the year when the wind's really howling, 0 canceled days, GoPro in the back of the boat and strap these guys, you got to be at least 70, strap these guys to a butt seat with bungee cords and send them out in Buffalo. You want to see viewership numbers like never before.
Oh my goodness, you're going to kill them, Matt.
You want to see viewership numbers like never before. It's called the EST, the Extreme Senior Tour. and no nets. You got to make these guys bend over. No net. 12-hour days.
Oh, you're brutal. You're brutal. All right.
I'm just saying.
The second thing I think we're at a stage that the Elite Series needs to do is, how many years are we into this now, Matt?
This will be the 15th. So 2006 was the first year. So 6, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23. This is the 19th year.
All right.
We're 17th, 18th. Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah, we're approaching 20 years. Either that or we're right at 20 years. I think
17.
I think that they need to have a tournament of champions. I've said this for a number of years. I think you go
Oh,
back.
that'd be a great way to get Kevin back on the water with bass.
100%. That's why I'm bringing it up. I just think that from a historical perspective, now would be a great time to put forth the TSC, and you have it limited to 40 guys, 35, whatever the number is. I don't know what the number is because I haven't done the research, but you create a, for lack of a better term, a cutoff point that for every time somebody new wins their first tournament, the guy that was in the 35th position falls out of the Tournament of Champions. All right. But there have been a number, obviously a large number of Elite Series events where you have champions. I think it would be great for the fans. I think it would be great for the sponsors that want to get involved with this. And I think it would be a win for the organization too, to recognize those champions over the years, kind of like in a weird way how they recognize all the Bassmaster Classic champions with the banners that hang
I'm in
from the venue. But like they're going to listen to me. I mean, they're not going to listen to me about anything, but I just think that there's enough history, there's enough champions that a Tournament of Champions absolutely 100% needs to happen. What are your thoughts, Matt?
Yes or no? Am I right? I 100% agree, and especially it would be easy. It would be easy to do it on the day before or after an Elite Series event where you can utilize the same stage, and they have it on like a TVA fishery at like Pickwick. If like Wilson or whatever is off limits, they could just go one lake down the chain and have it during a good time of the year anywhere that TVA, and it would be very easy to implement with minimal resources.
Agree. All right. One other thing that I since we're talking about this, that I would really like to see is one time, because obviously a lot of them have passed away, but I think it would be enormously cool if you had one time every single Bassmaster Classic champion that's alive show up to the next Bassmaster Classic.
I think they kind of do that anyway, don't they?
No, they kind of, they bring people in. I'm talking about the entire group.
Get them up on stage before the final day.
Yeah, even at the expo.
Have a 5-minute montage where they're standing there watching.
I think that the relevancy of that title hopefully will not deteriorate over time. I still think it is.
It's getting stronger.
Yeah.
It's getting stronger right now, Mark. It was in jeopardy for a while. I feel like it is getting stronger.
I agree. But I think that if you're a champion, I don't know. I mean, Ken Duke may know the answer. I don't know how long it's been since every living Bassmaster Classic champion has been together.
Probably the greatest angler debate that they had in like 2003.
I think it was just a handful. I don't think it was everybody. I think they need to do that. And hopefully the fans agree with me on that.
I talked to Ken. So, we were talking, ironically, two of the guys we've talked about. Timmy Horton came out with just a master troll list of his top 15 of all time. And he put KVD at 2 and left Ike off of the list. Go figure. And so I had him on the show to ask him that. And to Timmy's credit, he came on. It made sense. He's wrong, but I value his opinion. Where was I go? Oh, so this led me down a rabbit hole because Jacob Wheeler was number 1. And then Wheeler posted on that and said, there's no way I'm number 1 on Timmy's post. And then he called me, and I ended up talking to Wheeler for like 2 hours about all sorts of stuff, that included. And then I called Ken Duke, and I was like, dude, we got to do something about this. So Ken Duke, being Ken Duke, sat there, and he's like, okay. So he comes up with a formula to gauge. So he's trying to take all of the subjective things out of the equation. Yeah. And he spent a lot of time. I don't want to give any of it away, but he then took X number of anglers. You have to have X. I'm not giving any of this away because he's doing this. X qualifications. and he ranked like 200, or I think it was 141, to be honest with you. Guys, it was 141 that had X qualifications, and X qualifications apply to certain, and he came up with actually the greatest of all time that you can rank from 1 to 141. And then the beautiful thing that he did was he's like, well, if he said there has to be some subjectivity in it because you're assigning a value, right? A number value to each accomplishment. He goes, so that's where the subjectivity is. He goes, so if someone feels like my subjectivity in this was wrong, we could just change that value with a couple of clicks. And now it can be like, oh, you want this to be valued more? Now here's your top 140.
Yeah.
And he's going to come on in the off season, and we're going to get guys from different eras. Wheeler's already agreed to come on for this era. I'm going to try to get Larry Nixon on for an era, maybe a Denny Brower, a 90s guy like an Edwin E. Well, but guys who came in like that 2000s deal. Get guys for different eras, have Ken on, have him do the nerd fishing thing, break out all 141 with the assigned values, and we're going to do an entire week of actually ranking who the greatest of all time are.
That's cool.
And then we're also going to break it down so far by era. So then you can do like 60s, 70s, 70s, 80s, 80s, 90s, 90s and 2000s, and 2000s, 10s, and then the live scope era. So you can say his is who was statistically best in the 90s, who's statistically best in the 2010s. This is who's been best since the live scope era. And it'll put that whole debate to bed.
I like it. That the fans should love that too. That should be a great series of shows.
It will be.
Yeah.
What else do I need to do show wise? You did this show for forever. What am I missing here, Mark?
I don't know, man. I'll have to think about that. I think it's kind of cool that the stuff that you've done over the last, almost 2 years, dude, you continue to do a good job, and I hope the fans appreciate the work that you're putting in, because you're kind of wearing that two-headed monster. You're trying to catch fish at the same time and be a business owner and put together the show and get it into position where it continues to be the finest podcast live show in the bass fishing world.
Now that is subjective. That is not an object. That's not an objective opinion.
Oh, but you're doing it. I mean, you're trying. You're executing, and hopefully you continue to learn every day you walk into your studio there at your house that everything's not going to go right every single day. But you know what? You learn from every time that you're on the water, and it seems like you're learning every time you walk into the studio what is successful and what you need to improve on. So continue to do that, man.
You still check your email? So if there's listeners out there that want to email you concerned about how I'm just running the show into the ground on a daily basis, can they still email you at mark@basszone.com?
Yeah, that's still it. In fact, I'm going to do a shameless plug here real quick.
Okay.
I was cleaning out my garage and the studio, and I've drilled so many bowling balls lately that the studio is a wreck. Okay. So I'm trying to get everything organized, because we're going to have a team dinner after we do our video shoot over at my house here within a week or two. And I found 2 brand new in the box Lowrance HDS live units that I didn't even realize I had.
Yeah.
All right. So if anybody's out there willing to their HDS 12s, and
they're lives?
They're lives.
Are you sure they're lives and not Gen 3s or not carbons?
They're not carbons. I think they're like a year old.
Okay.
They're not.
They would have to be more than a year old.
Huh?
They'd have to be more than a year old, because I've been running it for almost 2 years now.
Okay, well, that's me being away. I don't know what they are.
They might have been the first lives that came out.
You can use Active Target. They're Active Target enabled.
Okay.
But they do not have the Active Target transducer.
Yeah.
All right, but
you can get that at thebasstank.com.
Yeah. So if anybody's interested in 2 12-inch brand new units, shoot me an email, and the money that is taken in from that is going to go directly to the bowling program for more equipment. So kids can never have too much equipment, too many bowling balls. And from what I've seen over the first week of practice, they're going to need some equipment because the college game is different. It's not anything that they've experienced from a lane pattern.
Oh, yeah, we got to finish. Let's finish on what is the lane pattern all about?
So, like, this is the first pattern that they practiced on. And these patterns were created by somebody at Kegel, which is the machine company that makes the machine that puts the oil down on the lane. But you see it's very flat.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't. But, I mean,
flat.
If you're telling me it is.
Right. But the flatter the pattern, the tougher the pattern. And college patterns are extremely tough. And it's kind of like when you play golf, man, and the rough is high and the greens are super fast.
Yeah.
Course is tough, right? Well,
but do you have college bowlers who are good because they can read and adjust to the patterns and they understand what each pattern does, and then it's just like on the water where you're like, oh, that guy's a natural?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the exposure that a lot of these players that are part of the program is very limited in that. So it was definitely a challenge for them the first 2 days of practice, but it did expose the fact that yes, they definitely need some new equipment. So please, if anybody is interested in 2 brand new Lowrance units, 12-inch HTS Lives, shoot me an email, and the price that we agree to, throw me an offer. All right, I'm not saying X amount of dollars or anything like that. Just throw me an offer in an email, and we will take that money and donate to the program for new equipment. So that's the only shameless plug I have. The other thing is, it's kind of weird, man. I really appreciate you having me on the show. I hope people enjoy when I randomly come on the show. I do miss it, but this is my job of a lifetime right now. I cannot tell you how much I am enjoying recruiting, being around the kids, and being able to hopefully pass along a lot of my experience, not just in bowling, but in life, that helps them through the 4 years of college, but more importantly, after they graduate. So it's been fun so far, man.
Well, I mean, you did a good job passing on a lot of knowledge to me over there. So you could be absolutely maddening at times and completely irrational, but as a whole, I appreciate a lot of the things over the years, not to get too sentimental.
Yeah.
But
in the fall too, we got to have our one-on-one. We're still going to do.
Frank's coming down in the fall to do more crappie and bass fishing and stuff in the studio. We got to get together with you because it'll be like after the season, so like November, December time.
Yeah.
And we still have to do our one-on-one. We got a bunch.
Right.
Hopefully, we covered a bunch of stuff today. Like,
hey, Matt, I haven't done a Mark After Dark this year. It's coming.
God. Oh my gosh!
I just don't know when, but it's coming. I will do a Mark After Dark.
Oh my gosh. Okay. have that. You still have access, so have at it.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Just give me a heads up.
Hopefully it was good. Hopefully you enjoyed. I love coming back on the show.
Are you closing the show out now?
Yeah.
Well,
hey, you want to see some of my players? They're showing up in my office. Here, come on. Here.
This isn't an NCAA violation, is it?
No. All right. Right here. You got Jackson from Hutchinson, Kansas, Gavin Taylor from here in Oklahoma, and Tobias.
Holy cow, the bowling team is jacked. That's not what I had in mind. The bowling team is jacked. I mean, I've seen all the promos on the show, but man, we got the 24 karat gold chains and the tees and everything.
Yeah, they're good kids, man.
All right.
It's been fun.
All right, Mark, I thoroughly enjoyed today's
man.
show, an hour and 50 minutes. I know you got practice coming up. Thanks for jumping on.
All right, man.
All right, see
everybody
ya.
out there, be safe.
All right, that was Mark Jeffries. We're closing out the show. That's the music. If you get a chance, head over to the iTunes. It's that time of year where we're doing contracts for next year, doing all sorts of stuff. So review on iTunes, number of stars, leave a comment, subscribe on YouTube, all that good stuff. Tomorrow, Uncle Frank, live, 8:30 a.m., wrapping up the week. We'll see you then. Later.